Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Madam Secretary. I want to go quickly first into a particular and specific case with regard to USCIS and a constituent of mine whose initials are JB. I would like to hold up this documentation that outlines JB's efforts to adopt a young woman from Senegal. I think you might have had conversations with some of my peers as it relates to this process. I would describe it, in the interest of conserving my limited time, as tragic and ridiculous what this woman has been through, to include over a dozen trips to the nation of Senegal and an order from NBC, the National Benefits Council, under USCIS that suggests that they cannot complete the adoption of this young girl who has known no family but this particular woman in her life while she's in the country, thus regarding or creating a circumstance wherein this 6-year-old child needs to be sent back to Africa to an orphanage so that we can complete the paperwork. I don't take this tone with you to be derisive. But I would ask for your specific attention. I presume there are individuals who are here with you today who are staffing you. I want to make sure this paper gets in their hand and ask for your specific attention. This is a tragedy of bureaucracy that has a human toll and impact. Moving on, and so I'm going to set it there. Please.
Yes, you have my commitment to look into that, sir.
I genuinely appreciate it, and thank you for all you do. And I understand that there's 330 million Americans, and this is but one aspiring American, but this is the right thing to do. Moving on, there's been some interest expressed by some of my colleagues in prioritization as it relates to saving American lives. In fact, my good friend and colleague, Ms. Demings, pointed to tragedies in Las Vegas, Orlando, and at Parkland. Would it surprise you, Madam Secretary, if I were to inform you that the Federal Government Fatality Reporting System indicates that about 20% of all automobile accident fatalities involve unlicensed drivers, and about half of those are illegals?
I'm not familiar with that statistic, but no, that wouldn't surprise me.
Would it surprise you if the number of total people killed, American citizens on American highways each year by illegals, is estimated to be in the range of about 3,500?
No, it wouldn't surprise me.
Okay. Would it surprise you to learn that in federal incarceration we have 709,440 illegal people detained? Would that surprise you?
No.
Would it surprise you to learn that the best estimate of state and local incarceration figures for illegals in this country is in the neighborhood of 297,000, thus creating an incarceration of over 1 million people who are in this country illegally?
No.
Would it surprise you to learn that the cost to incarcerate those individuals in federal and state facilities exceeds almost $32 billion annually?
That's a large number.
If we had $32 billion annually to construct a southern border wall, could we keep those people out of this country, thus reducing the cost to incarcerate and also saving upwards of 3,500 lives every single year of Americans who die at the hands of people here illegally on U.S. highways?
We certainly could keep most of them out if we had a full border system, yes, sir.
And so if we protected our southern border and kept these million incarcerated illegal criminal aliens out of our country, not only would we save lives, but we'd also presumably, if they weren't here, they couldn't be arrested and incarcerated, save about $32 billion a year in 2017 data, if the numbers that I'm giving you is correct?
Yes, yes.
Which would amount to over 3/10 of $1 trillion in a decade. I'm just like to do this because I'm a public school kid. $3,000 million that we could save if we built this wall on the front end? Okay. And so if we were able to make this one-time commitment to secure our southern border, would it in fact be a net cost saver paid for by, technically I suppose, the countries from which these individuals come by virtue of the denial of admission of illegal individuals?
It would save lives, it would save money, and it would protect our communities.
And ultimately, it would be paid for by the folks who currently are breaking our laws by virtue of their absence from our country, thus reducing the cost, would it not?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm just having fun here. I think, though, that these points are points that need to be made. As it relates to St. E. and the Homeland Facility Consolidation Plan, I would comment that I am as frustrated as anyone. Having said that, sometimes I think it's time to start anew. I read the OIG report with jaw agape when I read, and I quote, that perhaps too much time, energy, and money was spent on revitalizing Washington, D.C. neighborhoods and the St. E. renovations. Is it within the mission of Homeland Security to revitalize Washington, D.C. neighborhoods?
No, sir.
Is this what the American taxpayer expects their money will be spent on when they support Homeland Security expenditures in our budget?
I highly doubt it.
I do as well. And so I would point out by virtue of, and I would confess my self-interest on the front end, facilities like Vent Hill, which are very large former government facilities located within 53 miles of where we sit, where you could come and build right now and we wouldn't have the cost overruns of the litigation that drive costs up. Editorial comment. Finally, I know I'm running over, Mr. Chairman. We included in the authorizing budgetary language the ability to reinstate the waiver for returning workers under H-2B because we wanted you to be able to do it. So allow me to join my colleague, Mr. Keating, from the other side of the island saying, please help. It's not about foreign workers. It's about American businesses that have been around for decades that are shuttering because we can't create a system and circumstance wherein they have reliability and predictability.
I understand it should be a sustained program.
And I'm not, and again, not to attack you.
No, I agree. I asked for your help in passing it to
I'm
Congress
all over
so
it.
that it's a sustained program.
I agree. However, just because we haven't done our jobs yet doesn't mean, given that we've given you the latitude within your executive purview to do this, that we're not, I'm asking you humbly to do that. And I would point out finally that a returning worker by definition is someone who's already demonstrated a willingness to go home. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.